You spent all night listening to me talk about a ghost and a duke. You've heard about the pilots who get their names in the history books and the mechs that become legends. That those machines don't breathe on their own. They don't win wars because of some nobleman's decree. They win because someone like me stayed awake for 72 hours with a plasma torch and a prayer, making parts do things the factory said was impossible. I wasn't just the girl in the gantry, I was the architect of the miracle. Graveyards where the titans go to rot. I've found the beauty in the things the world forgot. I've taken shattered servos and I've turned them into gold, writing new stories in the iron of the old. They called me a scavenger, they called me a thief, but I was the one who gave the metal its relief. I built a cooling jacket from a burnt out fusion seal that ran colder than the factory and stronger than the steel. I'm Magnolia, a daughter of the grease and the flame, and it's time you remembered the woman behind the name. I shared the bed with a legend, a man made of scars who traded his innocence for a journey through the stars. I heard his whispered stories when the hangar lights were low, about the worlds he'd broken and the ones he'd watched grow. I knew the way he tilted when he pushed the hammer hard. I knew the ghost that haunted him at every palace yard. So I tuned his neurocircuits to the rhythm of his heart, making sure the man and the machine would never part. I loved him for the pilot and I loved him for the man, the only soul who understood the way my spirit ran. Oh, I'm the lady of gears, the queen of the scrap. I'm the one who redraws every line on the map. I wasn't a sidekick, I wasn't a ghost. I was the power that the universe feared the most. My younger self, she's a goddess of fire, building a kingdom I wire and desire. Faster than the hunters. I made him harder than the stone, so he wouldn't have to face the black inferno all alone. I gave him every ounce of genius that was living in my head, just to keep him for one more night from the valley of the dead. We were a circuit completed, a perfect lethal pair, living on the edge of the vacuum in the air. But even the best mechanic can't fix a broken fate or hold back the tide when it's crashing at the gate. I watched the man I love become a sun in the sky, and I'm the only one left to tell the universe why. A ghost is a memory, a scorch mark on the moon, a legend that the scavengers will be painting over soon. I sold my last actuator, I packed away to my kit, and there isn't a single light left in the hangar to be lit. If the Duke is still hunting, tell him he's too late. There's nothing left to find behind this rusty iron gate. I've buried the blueprints and I've buried the pride, along with the part of me that died by his side. The tools are all cold and the engine is still, and I finally run out of my category. The story's over, there's no more freedom, no more Atlas, and no more Jacks, there's just me. And even I'm fading into the background of 1,000 different bars on 1,000 different rocks. If anyone's still looking for Magnolia, tell them Mags has finished the job. Tell them she built the best thing she ever could, a legacy that the bastards could never take back.